So let's start off with a little citation from the book of Genesis 45. And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them, and afterwards his brothers conversed with him. It's really heavy, man. That's what we're up to right now. With the works of Yair Davidiy, where he's conversing with Ephraim and getting Judah to converse with Ephraim and Ephraim to converse with Judah. That's we're on the brink, we're on the eve of redemption. So I noticed a song from Rodgers and Hammerstein, which in a slight way captures this dynamic of the brothers. He then kissed all of his brothers and wept upon them, and afterwards his brothers conversed with them. They created a dialogue, and that's what we got to do today. Judah has to create a dialogue and converse with Ephraim, weeping on their shoulders and kissing their cheeks, and Ephraim's got to kiss the cheeks and weep on Judah's shoulders and talk to each other. We have to talk to each other. We have to walk with each other. So I got a kick out of this poem to epitomize in a happy way this dynamic. We have to be teachers to one another. It's a very ancient saying, but a true and honest thought, that if you become a teacher, by your pupils you'll be taught. We have a mission that says exactly that. As a teacher, I've been learning, you'll forgive me if I boast, and I've now become an expert on the subject I like most, which is you, Ephraim. Getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me, getting to know you, but nicely, you are precisely mine glass of tea. Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy. When I am with you, getting to know what to say. Haven't you noticed? Suddenly I'm bright and breezy because of all the beautiful and new things I'm learning about you day by day. And he then kissed all his brothers and wept upon them, and afterwards his brothers conversed with him. I wanted to share something from a part of our Torah which has deep, deep mysticism that you don't even go there until you know the whole Torah. But we're not going to approach it on such a deep level that we get lost in the secrets. We're going to approach it on a simple level. The chariot, the Merkavah, the vision of the prophet Yechezkel hinted at the awesome renewal of God's presence from a ruined and desecrated Jerusalem. The Gemara in Baba Batra 14b points out how towards the end of the book of Yechezkel, the prophet comes with words of profound comfort. His message teaches the exiles who felt that they were dry bones with no part in the future Israel, that indeed they would share in the glorious future. The message of comfort includes the reconciliation of the lost 10 tribes with Judah, a future Messiah descended from David. Don't forget Elijah the prophet, who's got to fix us up psychologically, right? Parents to children, bridge a generation gap, but it's also who the children of parents is Ephraim coming back to their older brothers, their older sisters. It's a lot of work, rebuilding the temple, defeating our enemies. And something very unique about the book of Ezekiel is that whereas other prophets speak in sweeping generalities, Ezekiel spoke in very exact terms of height and width and length and the measurements of the third temple. This makes for a heightened sense of reality to identify with. It gives us a blueprint or more graphic framework in which to place our hopes for a redeemed world. The Torah in Leviticus says, this is the Torah of sin offering. Do you get it? Torat Chatot. Get this. The word in the written Torah says the teaching sin offering. The teaching, this offering. The teaching, that offering. The teaching itself is a form, and the study itself is a form of actually, could be considered by God as the offering. It's considered as if he or she had actually brought the offering. Torah, and then fill in the blank, whatever the offering is. The teaching up is the offering. You get it? That the very words imply the teaching and study and learning creates in the spiritual world the actual gift. So the ancient message describing how important and precious it is to study the temple may perhaps be applied in some measure to the study of the future redemption and the whereabouts of the lost 10 tribes. Certainly, we are comforted by this study. It creates new insights and understandings of numerous biblical texts, of history, archaeology, grammar, stories, and such studies deserve your support and your encouragement. When the world will be finally redeemed and the third temple built, what will all of this have been for? We see clearly from the words of Ezekiel that they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them, and that they shall be my people, and I will be their God. And David, my servant, will be king. He'll be king, honorary king. Even them and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. The living commandments of the Torah are eternal vehicles and cords of love to bind us to God. There are numerous verses that say that. And how are you going to do these commandments? Through the Torah set up the mechanism. This is proof of the prophecy of the Torah. It said thousands of years ago we'll be doing these commandments, and it said that the priests who will be our sages and the Levites who will be our sages and the regular Israelites from all the tribes who will be our spiritual leaders will be our framework for understanding all these commandments. And that's the age we're on. And by the dialogue that Yair is established between Judah and Ephraim will be able to make up a lot of lost homework that they need to make up to get into those ordinances and statutes and commandments. One of the purposes of the dispersion of the 10 tribes of Israel was to bring about a social and ethical improvement and enrichment of the nations. They were to repair the social fabric of societies that they found themselves in, and that's exactly what they've done. One of the reasons Judah was exiled among the nations was to bring back righteous souls to the nation. I want to end that all of this work, the goal is to make us closer to God in his words. I call heaven and earth to bear witness that any person, Jew or Gentile, man or woman, free man or slave, if his deeds are worthy, then the divine inspiration will descend upon him. And our sages also say, from the prophet Joel, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. And this is a time that we're approaching, but that spirit upon all flesh, you need to run it by the historic biblical chieftains, the historic biblical teachers, so that you don't accidentally fall off the path. It needs the framework, the biblical mandate which was established. And I'd like to end, guys, may the Almighty bless you, all the readers of Yair's wonderful works, and all the people who study it, and all the people who listen to the lectures, and bless your investigated search and quest, and may you be blessed with a joyous heart along the entire trek. Glory in his holy name, ye joyous of heart, you who seek Hashem, search out Hashem and his might, seek his presence, his inwardness always, with joy and happiness.